Right, now that we've finished with the interactable master, we can head over to the component which we created earlier. So we can go to the characters, player, component, interaction component, and we can delete the tick event. From there, we're going to go off of begin play and create a new widget. This widget will be the message which we made earlier, and we can right click that and promote it to a variable and call it winteract underscore message underscore ref. And then we're going to set timer by function name, align that, and for the time we're going to have it at 0.1 with looping, and on the return value we can go ahead and promote that to a variable. The variable I'm going to call it trace interact ref. This function which we're going to be calling will be there to trace 4 interactables to make sure we have got an interactable which we can interact with. So we're going to create a new function called trace for interactables, and we can F2 and then copy that name for the function and paste it into the function name for the timer. We can go ahead and go into the function, and in here we can go ahead and grab a sphere trace by channel. With the radius, we can right click and promote that to a variable and compile and set that to a default value of 5. We can go ahead and then get the owner of the component and get the actor eyes viewpoint. For the out location, this can go straight into the start. I'm going to create a reroute node by double clicking on the line, and then we can go ahead and add, and this will go straight into the end. Just going to make this a bit more pretty. For the out rotation, we can go ahead and get the forward vector of the rotation and multiply that by a float. So we're going to right click here, convert pin, float, and right click, promote to variable, and I call this range for interact. I'm going to compile that and set the range to default value of something like 500, and then we can go ahead and connect that up to the addition node. For testing purposes, we can go ahead and set the draw debug type to for duration, and the out hit, we're going to break the result and click on the drop down, and then also create a new branch holding B and left clicking, and we're going to create an AND ball. So first we're checking if it did in fact hit something, and the second thing we're going to check is if the hit actor implements the interface which we created earlier also, and the interface is a BPI interactable. I can then go ahead into the AND ball. From here we can get the hit actor and promote to variable. Just going to use some reroute nodes to make it a bit more easy to read. And we're going to rename this to interactable ref. From here we can duplicate that to the false, so we're going to create it null, and we're going to create a new macro which we'll be creating to check if the message widget is in fact visible or not. If it is, then we won't be making it to the viewport. If it isn't, then we'll add it to the viewport. Same goes for if there isn't an interactable, we need to make sure we can disable the widget for now. So we're going to go ahead and get another branch, and then we're going to get the winteract message ref. We're going to check if it's visible or not. Use an exclamation mark and get not boolean. We can go into there, and then we're going to just reroute node to here. So then we can select what we've created apart from the reroute, right click, collapse to macro, and then open this up. With the outputs, we're going to add the true and the false, and then bring the W_interact message ref down, and add a reroute to make it look pretty. Make sure everything's straight. And we're going to rename this macro to can_show_widget. I'm going to go back into the trace for interact and duplicate this macro. And then we're going to, off of here, add to viewport, connect that to true, and then we're going to remove from parent and connect that to false. Now we can head back into the event graph and then create two new events, so custom event, one called begin interaction and another one called end interaction. This will be called from the character. We're also going to create a new function called can interact, and we're just going to open that up. This is going to be very easy and simple. It's just a is valid. I'm going to check if the interactable ref is indeed valid or not to stop any errors pretty much. Off the is valid, we're going to get a return node and plug in the interactable ref. I'm going to head back into the event graph and drag out can interact and duplicate that to the end interaction 2. And then from here, because we use the interface, we can just go ahead and call interact and then here released. Alright, that's everything for the component. Now we can begin on the next task.